normally it's Dawn and Joss and Noah, and yeah, so there's normally quite a crowd here. So a little low key. So what we could do is give a little bit of feedback from KubeCon and what we've done there. So we had
that panel that you did.
Jay, you were not on the panel, so I think the fairer assessment would be, as from the audience point of view, what was the panel like, and what's your take out of it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Well, it was great. I think it was I think it worked well. Everyone's speaking their own sort of area of expertise and familiarity, so it gave quite a broad sort of scope of everything that the tag does. Yeah, I think there was, even though it was half a dozen with everyone, I think there was still like sufficient time, for everyone to sort of cover the key aspects of those areas. Sandeep was a bit of a hit with his take on things as being relatively new to the space and talking about accessibility and inclusion from that side. Yeah, there's some good questions from the audience as a result. I think everyone covered well. No, I just think it was solid. It was a couple of slides to each person speaking, summing up all the sort of the need to knows, I guess, for everyone, and still the call to actions in terms of inviting people to get involved and connect, and just some practical ways about I think there's some of the questions from the audience are both from contributors and contributors to be and the projects themselves about how to, strategies about how to build up their and retain their contributor basis as well, which I think was well covered in the responses. So no, I thought it was successful.
Is the slide deck available, and is there a link to the YouTube video somewhere so I can watch it?
I will find the video I have the link somewhere. I'll find it for you and share. From my point of view, I was pleasantly surprised about the volume of people that pitched up. It wasn't decked out, but there was quite a few people in the room, and the quality of questions that came out afterward. It was really, I want to contribute. What do I do? And I have a project. How do I get more contributors? So it was really audience to the point, which was quite nice.
Mm.
Now, how many people do you think were in the room?
Difficult to say. Probably, I'd say 30, maybe.
Yeah.
You need to put AI in the title next time.
Yes. Yes, we were discussing before you're on about every title with AI in it. The people were
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we did I was supposed to give a talk, and it had AI assisted run books in the title, or it was about using Gen AI to generate run books and things, and it had over 400 people in the room.
Wow.
And I know, kind of I got someone to help moderate with the Q&A from my co-presenter did it all by herself, so it was pretty amazing. So I think there was was there 12,000 people that attended Paris? Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
12,000 plus. So yeah, it was quite impressive.
Yeah. So was there a space on the expo floor for the SIG? Did you guys have any table space or presence there?
The Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group had their own booth, specifically talking about accessibility. They had which I don't know, did you attend, Jay? I didn't get, I was busy with something else. Then they had learn some basic sign language fun class thing, and also Anastasia from Deaf or Hard of Hearing actually had on stage, what do they call it, the main sessions with the keynotes. She actually had a panel talk there as well, so fairly well represented, and then also shop on the floor.
Okay, but we as a SIG didn't have anything, any presence.
No, so what we did do is, if you look at the agenda, I think I've the link in the chat. So there is a feedback form. So what the SIG did do, and I did not manage to get good notes down at all, but canvassing the shop floor and actually go speak to different projects about their needs, about the SIG, telling them about the SIG and the resources, and that was fairly successful. There was a lot of feedback. Even though I didn't put that down feedback, I spoke a lot to the projects about the admin needs around conserving their documents. CNCF now have a G Drive where project can save their documents, because it happened that, especially at sandbox level, people leave and then the documents go missing because it's in somebody's company G Drive. So about that, and I also spoke to people about getting LFX Zoom links, because CNCF doesn't hand out Zoom links anymore, but LFX does have Zoom links. So we've figured a bit of a workaround, because the integration with the Google Calendar and the groups.io doesn't work well yet. So we've got to work around. You go sign up as a member of your community, you get the calendar, you set your meetings, you copy the link, and you just share it the normal way. So we shared about services that this tag is available.
Yeah, it's interesting. Today is my day to submit a sandbox application for one of my projects. So it'll be interesting to see with
Nice.
some of the new processes, how it goes, how well I do. And actually, the sandbox process hasn't changed at all for the form itself, but it'll be interesting to see if any of the changes speed up anything at all, because it's like most of the folks in the last sandbox review they just got either pushed to do something else before and come back, or just put on hold. So I don't think they didn't accept anybody in the sandbox. If I remember right, the notes from the TOC, it wasn't.
No, they had a bit of a bottleneck there. Under what tag would your project fall? Is it observability or networking or?
It's been under, let's see, Machine API, and it's the Cell Playground folks. They're the ones that host the tool for testing your Cell common expression language and validation policies and things like that. So they want to move that out of their repo into either Kubernetes or as a standalone sandbox. So we're doing the sandbox application this week, and then we're going to talk to, we've been talking to the Kubernetes folks. And so if the sandbox process takes way the F too long, we'll probably just put it under Kube itself. And yeah, because Cell itself is not a CNCF project. It's outside of the Linux Foundation at the moment. So there's no place to put it, but everybody's using it and they're hosting it. And they're asking for more features and functions, and so we'd like some help and more people doing it. So yeah, you'll get to see Diane's attempt at getting something into the sandbox shortly. But it's a common ask of people is for help now. Figuring all that out, making sure that everything's accessible, and things getting lost on Google Drive is just like every other day.
Exactly. But the function of, sorry, I don't know the project. What do they do? Observability?
No, it's here. I'll send you a link. How's this? Let's see this Cell Playground here. And now I've lost you. I've got too many tabs open. Sorry. Now you're back. It's the one. You see that? And I can share my screen, but it is, it's actually a host it. You can host it locally, but you can use it to test cell expressions and play with them. And it's actually got a connection now to test it on live Kubernetes clusters. So they're working through all of the details.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you're using Cell, it's And it's linked to it from the Kubernetes documentation where they talk about Cell. It's already in use pretty widely. It's just not
Oh, best of luck with that. Yeah, Sandbox is a bit of a queuing process, but I'm sure you're well connected in and well versed. You'll probably get it pushed
Yeah.
through soon enough.
Yeah.
Something else that I've put on the agenda for discussion today is the peer mentoring session. So I haven't been there the previous KubeCon, and Jay told me it's the best thing ever, and he signed me up. And when I got there, Jay wasn't there, so I got to peer mentor all by myself without Jay. But what an interesting experience!
Cool, man. Every intention of the
No, you had to go fish to fry. So yeah, I don't know, Dan, if you know what the peer mentoring thing is about, it's basically, I'm not sure how they stock the room. Do they have people that they pre-ask to be there, Jay, or was it just people showing up?
I think they promote it. I think the last couple of times I've been involved, they sort of sent out a bit of a open invite to any mentors who want to give their time. I'm not sure how they attract the mentees though. So yeah, one of the events CNCF organise all that sort of things.
Yeah, the mentees was easy going. There was a room full of mentees. There was a couple of mentors. Dims I saw there. I saw Tim Pepper there. So there was some people way more educated than myself in the room. And they have like several tables set up. And the one says community, the one says tech, and the one says, and then you go sit at any one of those tables and somebody talk to you about that topic. But the amount of questions that came through from people right at the basic level, I have no idea, never seen open source before. This is fantastic. How the heck do I start? That was quite interesting. And what was a little strange to me is there's people with fairly progressed career paths that's the manager of some resource at some big company, and they have no idea where to go look into open source, asking basic open source questions. And then there was very new people that never been deep in tech yet, that just started off in tech, that's a new career that wants to know. And the session is, I think, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, which is way too short for the amount of questions that came through. So some of the resources that we pointed to is the whole Clo Tributor thing. A lot of people basically get them onto the site right there. And the other resource that I pointed a lot to is how do I get started in open source? Got a lot of people looking at that. And which makes me, and the unfortunate thing is that is on the last day of KubeCon. And people are still clearly absolutely lost after spending 5 days. Many of them have been there since Monday, Tuesday, and they're still lost. They still have no idea, and they haven't found anybody to speak to. So what Jay and I have been talking about is they had like a lightning session day, the day before KubeCon. And it might be worth the while on, if we dream big, have a half day or full day of this is how you get started in open source, and not on a technical level, on a community level, explaining this is how the communities work, this is where you find the resources, this is how you make your first issue, this is, and some of the people don't know what a pull request is or why you make a pull request, but they're in tech in some way.
There used to be a full day of that.
So I think
Josh Burkus organized that for years. He did that. There was a day that, getting started day for, for beginners. And then I think there are so many co-located events that might have been competing against it. But it was very valuable to have that as a place for brand newbies to come in and really get started and get some hands-on and maybe do stuff. I think it got spread out and flattened by the what do they call them? Not the maintainers. I get maybe it's the maintainer sessions that each project has that's spread out over the whole week that is specific to a project. So they have their little, I forget the name of those sessions, but that talk to Josh. I can't think, it wasn't Caroline who passed away. It was somebody else. They did it, and they were awesome. They were awesome and very, very well attended. Yeah, but yeah, ask him for the
And
history on that.
especially if it's free before KubeCon on the Colo days, if you didn't pay for a Colo, you can have those. Like the lightning talks was packed. But what strikes me about the lightning talks, pun intended, there were several tags, at least 2 or 3 that I saw that got on stage. They said we are tagged, and they gave their name, and then they continued to, the lightning talks for 7 minutes. Then they continued to talk in abbreviations for the next 7 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah,
nobody have any idea what you're talking about. Unless the people that are informed give you feedback. It was a good talk because they know what you're talking about. The people that don't know, that you thought you were reaching, you were talking in abbreviations for 7 minutes. Nobody knows what you said.
Yeah. Well, I think even what and I'm the last to say anything because I'm not going to volunteer to do this, but I think our groups, the mentoring group and all that, should be doing lightning talks. We all should be doing them on whether it's the mentee stuff, whether it's contributor strategy or the governance working group, or whatever it is. We're not doing enough publicity about the services and the things and building awareness of this. So and it's a cheap and easy way to do it, and you reach a much bigger audience than the panel is great, and the YouTube video, hopefully I'll find the link and watch it, but to get to a wider audience, because one of my concerns or things that I really want is to make sure that, and I like that we did all of that talking with all of the different as many of the groups as possible, but there's 175 projects, right? And
184 now.
Oh fuck. Well, hopefully I'll be making 185, right? So yes, evil. So you can't really just there's not 185 of us going to Salt Lake City in the fall or whatever for KubeCon to walk around and hit on everybody. But that should be our goal, is to have at least one conversation or at least touch one person from each of the projects so that they're aware of the mentorship program, of the governance guidance they can get, because I'm reading the notes and Prometheus was off and running, doing their own governance updates and hadn't reached out. And it's great that Dawn and everybody got them, but we need to be a bigger and more public megaphone for the services we offer and the mentoring, not just mentoring working group stuff, but mentoring on contributor strategy for all these projects. And I don't think we're not getting the reach that we need, especially if there's under 100 people in the room when the panel's going. That's not enough.
No.
And I really do feel people aren't aware of us, that that we even exist as a working group. Until some crisis happens, and then we're here. It's like, then we're here, and they need us. But I think that would be my goal for KubeCon Salt Lake City, is that each of the working groups put a lightning talk in. Because how many people were in the room for the lightning talks? There probably were 1,000, I would expect.
Yeah, the lightning talks didn't count as a Colo. So if you didn't register for the Colo, that's a place to go. So there's kind of the overflow of the people that's early, that don't have anywhere to go. So at some stages it was standing room only. So it was very popular.
Yeah.
And varying the topics. There's a link to I'll also stick it in the agenda. There's a link to the video for the panel. So yeah, you're right. I think there's not enough of us to do that on a one-on-one basis, which we try to do while we're at KubeCon. And if we can get it, let's get started. Let's get you started in open source, how to get contributors and do a whole even if it's a half day. And I also spoke to Robert Reeves from that does work with sales, and he says he'll find somebody. Some of the bigger companies would be willing to sponsor this because they want the communities to grow.
Yeah,
So,
I think we can do this, you know, and without overtaxing us, because a lightning talk's easy, and all of us are pretty good speakers. And the other opportunity I think is the Rejects conference. That's a couple of days before. That's everybody. That I had one of the guys from Get Up Cloud who did the Cell Playground thing went there and gave a talk, and that was really well attended as well. So for people who didn't get their talks accepted, they had some place to go. But it's all of these things when we don't do enough community development for our own community. You know, it's like we're all good at it. But I think, and I did one blog post in LinkedIn promoting the session and the other things, and which got a lot of reposts and stuff like that, but I'm not sure it actually drove awareness of the session or got people to come to the session, because I didn't do anything after that, after posting it. I didn't show up. So I just, you know, we don't scale as individuals, but if we play smart, we could probably get the word out there and get more people coming to, as opposed to just the three of us at this session, coming and attending this. And I think this is kind of scary to just have the three of us here, to me, because it means we're not effectively doing our own outreach. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's that. So I'm going to leave at the half hour because I could get a real breakfast in me, and I've been on calls all morning, and I do have to get that Sandbox application in the mail today and submit it. But yeah, thanks for the link to the video. I will repost that on LinkedIn as well with the post that I did previously, so that anyone who followed that, I'll say, oh, if you missed it, come and do that. But yeah, I'm more marketing for our, you know, our own group.
For the initiatives.
And really, maybe the next time we have a bigger group meeting, talk to, and I don't remember all the details. Josh really ran that contributor, you know, first time contributor. I don't even remember what it was called. Co-located day before thing. And he did a great job with it. And I can't remember who else was in the room doing it with him, but it was always like 100, 150 people signed up for it. And it was where people went who'd never done a pull request before or didn't understand the contribution ladder. And yeah, it might be time to revive that if we can get, you know, like corporate sponsors and whatever.
And I think there's a massive need, as most KubeCons, they say at least half the people's never been to a KubeCon. So there's your contributors right there.
Yeah. That's it. Good. Yeah, I think the other thing I was going to say is I probably am going to host a co-located day for one of the projects that I'm doing next year, but I'm going to do it the day after KubeCon, because the day before KubeCon, it sucks. Because it's too much competition. But if you can get people to stay a day after, so they're all excited about these projects or things like that, maybe the day after KubeCon when it ends, or at the end of whatever the last day is, that afternoon, because people start wandering away. But I don't know.
Even because this time it ended at 2:30, and there was a lot of keen people still hanging around. And then the next day we had the Kids Day, which was also fairly well attended, even by conference goers that got their families to come. So after it's also good, depending on how it rolls on the calendar.
Yeah, I think that would be good. So we'll see you guys all next time. And
nice to see you.
We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.